Okay, returning to the, what model, Mark? CRT One. We're returning to CRT One on the receive. I was going to go through what receive adjustments there are for you, but there aren't any. We can't even find a detector coil, which is actually good because that's the thing that goes out regularly, especially when you've got it in a car and it's getting shaken around. So what I'll just say to you on the receive side of the video is what we have done is, at the moment we've got a signal on this equal to S9. Now, there's no S meter, so we'll turn the radio round. It might be better without our bench light on. So what we have here, obviously that's the volume control. This is the RF gain control, which is in steps. I presume these are decibels of attenuation, which, using the up-down control on the mic, we can alter. And you can hear the background noise coming up from that S9. That's the full attenuation of 54, and then we go back to 6. Pressing RF gain again puts it down, back down, without the RF gain activated. So effectively you preset how you want the RF gain to be and then switch it in if you wish that to have that feature. So let's supposing we want the full attenuation of 54 without RF gain and with that attenuation. So I'll switch it back to 6 and then without it. Then with the signal generator, as I say, that's 100 microvolts, which is S9 equivalent. I'm going to knock that down now. It's 10 microvolts. That's 1 microvolt. I can't quite tell you how many decibels sign had because the sign meter on this particular test set isn't as easy to work as on the other bench. And however, it still is very much audible with a bit of noise. Now the lowest, the attenuator's lowest setting on this is 0.3. That is 0.3, which is still very usable. And dropping the variable attenuator now to 0.25 and then to 0.2. If I switch off the tone and then back on again, we can still hear this radio receiving at 0.2 of a microvolt, which is very, very good performance, and even more so when there's no adjustments. And finally, we've got the squelch control, and at the moment I've got it switched off so we could do those tests. Oops, it gives you so many seconds to do it. And there we've got the squelch test. I'm going to set that to full, whatever that is, and we'll just make sure, there it is, it's 2.8. What I'm now going to do is see where that comes in on the test set. So 3 microvolts, 10 microvolts, 30 microvolts, 100 microvolts. Hang on, we're in scan. I didn't know it had that. That's caught me out, hasn't it? Yeah.
Just switch the set off.
Yes, I don't know where scan is. So we'll just go to channel 20, which is where we were, and see where that comes in. We were at 100 microvolts, 300 microvolts, 1 millivolt, 3 millivolts, and it comes in at 10 millivolts on its full squelch setting. So it does at least come in. What we don't want is a CB radio where when you've got the squelch on full, it never opens at all. So that's very acceptable. Now I'm going to set the squelch for threshold, which is 0.1, and we'll see what that actually is. So my signal generator is currently on 0.3 of a microvolt. We're going to switch that to 1 microvolt, and in fact it has come in. Switching back to 0.3, it drops off. Switching to 1 microvolt, and we'll see where it goes off on the attenuator. About 1.4. No, so it's going to be 0.45 of a microvolt. So that has good hysteresis. So that works quite well. So although there's no internal adjustment, the thing does work well. Now we just discovered Squelch. We in demonstrating Squelch, we just discovered the scan, didn't we? Yeah. How do we make it do that?
Does it hold the button down, RF gain, hold it down for more than a few seconds?
Were we fiddling with the
I
Squelch?
was doing Squelch, weren't we? Yeah.
Ah, we've now got auto Squelch. Well, I've got holding the button down has now brought us into auto Squelch. See, that was another feature I didn't know it had. So we'll see how that works. It comes in just gone. It comes in at just over 1 microvolt and drops in just below. Drops out just below 1 microvolt. So that works all right. So we'll hold and release that again, and that has taken us out of that function. As Mark suggests, I'll just see what happens when we hold the RF gain button. We could read the instruction book, couldn't we? Yeah. It won't be. Oh, it'll be in that one. We're just going to pause the video and read the instruction book. Okay, quick look at the instruction book, and Mark tells me we press the A/F button, which will be the AM or FM, which isn't relevant when we're on UK band, and hold it. It then goes into scan, which it does indeed. It says SC on the display. If I now press the up-down button on the mic, and you'll notice we're going forwards, we're going up the channels. If I press down, it will now scan in reverse. If we want it to scan forwards again, we simply press up on the mic, and it scans in that direction. Well, there you go. Don't see that on many sets, do we? So we'll go out of that, and we'll go back to channel 20, which is where I want it to be for the demonstration. The other thing which it has is the emergency button, and the first press, like a lot of sets, takes us to channel 9. The second press takes us to 19. So if you've got a favourite channel, like we're often on 31, if you just want to go on to 19 for some obscure reason and listen to people playing music and using the burners and echo boxes, you can go to 19, and then you can just press it and it goes back to your usual channel. So that's all I can tell you about receive. Mark's now going to tell me, I'm sure, is how we set the country when you from cold. So if we're in another country, let's supposing we want the CPT band, what do? We obviously turn the set off, and I'll pause the video while he looks that up in the instructions. Right, so Mark says we switch it on while holding AF. And press microphone up and down to choose the country. I'm now in UK, so we'll switch it off and then back on, which it is. Now the factory reset was to hold the Squelch button and then switch it on, which we did. That puts us into an EU mode, gave us AM, and just to prove what I was saying earlier about the level of modulation for AM, it was indeed the upper preset. It came out of the box doing 70%, and we adjusted that for about 85% modulation on AM. So just to recap the adjustments, so FM adjustment, the FM deviation, the power, and the AM modulation for those of you in countries where you want to use that. So that concludes all I can say about this very dinky little set, which doesn't have many adjustments but works very well. And what we're going to do is we're going to just do a little service to the other one which we've bought in, and then I'm going to send Mark out down the road about 6 miles, and we're going to talk car to car and on the air test using this here and the other one in Mark's car. And so we're actually going to be doing an on the air test between 2 identical sets instead of having a reference radio like we would usually do. So there you go, that's the CRT One on the receive side for you.